Plato was Socrates' disciple, and Marcus Aurelius. Maybe you heard about his name, maybe you are not quite familiar with his name. Yeah. He was the 16th Roman emperor. Fought many wars, did lot of things to expand his empire. But again, he was a great thinker, great philosopher, and he has written lots and lots of material about meditation, equanimity, and soul. Actually, I was very impressed when I read about Marcus Aurelius and about meditation, his book. About 4 or 5 years ago, I read that, and I was very impressed. What sort of philosophy is this? There are a lot of things in Jainism, all this equanimity and living in the present moment and all these things. So we'll briefly explore all these things very quickly, then we'll move on. Pythagoras. He lived more or less between 6th and 5th century BC, during the time of Mahavir Swami, you can say. When Mahavir Swami was in India, he was there in Greece. Pythagoras, mathematician and philosopher. And of course, as I said, he gave us Pythagorean theory. He is famous for 2 or 3 things. He is an expert on the fate of the soul after death, who thought that the soul was immortal and went through a series of reincarnation. As an expert on religious ritual, he is also known for that. And as a wonder worker, who had a thigh of gold and who could be at 2 places at the same time. He himself believed that. He had professed that he was born at such and such place in his previous life, and before that he was born there, he was born there, and he could tell all these things to his friends. And as he is also known as the founder of a strict way of life that emphasized dietary restrictions, religious ritual, and rigorous self-discipline. He was vegetarian, and he believed in looking after animals. So that's a Pythagoras. I might have 1 or 2 more things what he said. Yeah. His belief in soul. Pythagoras maintained that the soul has 3 vehicles. The ethereal, which is luminous and celestial, in which the soul resides. The Jain ધર્મમાં પણ 5 જાતના બોડી બતાવ્યા છે. તો આને 3 બોડીની વાત કરેલી છે. The soul resides in a state of bliss in the stars, and the luminous, which suffers the punishment of sin after death, and the terrestrial, which is the vehicle it occupies on this earth, જેને આપણે ઔદારિક શરીર જૈન ધર્મમાં કહે છે એ એટલે આને 3 જાતના સોલ બોડીની વાત કરી છે. આપણે જૈન ધર્મમાં 5 જાતના કર્યા છે, ઔદારિક, તેજસ ને. His love for all life. Now let us see this. As long as man continues to be the ruthless destroyer of lower living beings, he will never know health or peace. For as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. He spent his life forbidding all animal food, advocating a plant-based diet, and prohibiting consumption of beans. I don't know why he prohibited consumption of beans, but of course he was a strict vegetarian and believed in love and reverence for all life. That's Pythagoras. So In India, we had Mahavir Swami and Lord Buddha at the same time when Pythagoras was there in Greece. And of course, at the same time in China, we had another philosopher too, isn't it? Now, Socrates, a great thinker, he had a unique style of teaching. What he was doing, he was always asking questions to his friends, to his disciples. He was always asking questions, and he was always allowing them to give answers. And that's why he would say, no, yes, no, further question, yes. And that's how he used to teach. In India, we call him Sukrat. In English, Socrates. Perhaps Sukrat is the nearest pronunciation. Because in Indian language, the language being so phonetic, and alphabet and all that, the Sukrat, Jesus in India we call Yesu, which is the nearest pronunciation rather than Jesus. And even Alexander, we call him Sikandar. That was his name, not Alexander, Sikandar. So that's what, by the way, that's a different matter. I always move away. Socrates believed in reincarnation again. Socrates' style of asking questions and telling people to find answers. Knowledge to Socrates was never changing, but concrete and eternal. He thought that we'll never learn the reality and truth of anything if we continue to rely on our senses. Socrates would give an example to prove his point. If you put a straight stick halfway in the water, it will look bent. You all know this principle. Take it out, it looks straight again. So is the stick really straight, or our senses trying to trick us? That's how he used to teach people. Of course, he was sentenced to death. He had to drink poison. That he chose this type of death because once he was sentenced to die, he was asked, what would you like? You want to go away from here or you want to die? And how you want to die? And he said, I don't want to go anywhere. I would rather die, and please give me poison. And that's what happened, and he was dead. Socrates had a lot of disciples. One famous disciple is Plato. Socrates quotes first, true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. Again, our religion says. And he said this again and again to his friends, that once you know that you know nothing, that is your true knowledge. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. To find yourself, think for yourself. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. What a sentence. The way to gain a good reputation is to endeavor to be what you desire to appear. Again, some more. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. The end of life is to be like God, and the soul following God will be like Him. See the principle. We have to become Arihant and a Siddha. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. And that's why we chose, we said, I would rather die than submit to your will. Go away and stop teaching. No. Strong minds discuss idea. I'm sure you must have read this somewhere. Strong minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Weak minds discuss people. Very good, isn't it? Plato, his disciple. Socrates was born around the 3rd century BC or so, and then Plato. Plato was a great philosopher. What he said, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. That's again very good. Those who are good, they are always good, They don't need any laws and rules and regulations. And those who are bad, they always try to find a loophole, He was a wise man who invented God. And this one is Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, who used this word equanimity. Samta ભાવ આપણે જેને કહીએ છીએ ને જૈન ધર્મમાં એ I recommend, strongly advise you to read his works, It's called Meditation. He himself didn't give that name. People after his death called that book Meditation. It's not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. See, he's advocating us to cherish each and every moment in our life. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. I'll only read the last one. You can read each and every one. Accept the things. If it's not the right, do not do it. The universe is change. The last one is, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. કારણ કે વિચારમાંથી વર્તન આવે, એક્શન આવે. That's how our quality of our life depends on that. The first one is very good. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Again, idea of forgiveness is there. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. આપણે આપણા મનથી દુઃખી થઈએ છીએ ઘણીવાર કે આણે મને આમ કીધું. તો how we react and how we think about it, અને આપણે કેવા વાઇન્ડ અપ થઈ જઈએ છીએ એના લીધે આપણે દુઃખી થઈએ છીએ ને. પછી એમ કહે છે એણે મને દુઃખી કર્યું. તો એમ જ કહેશે જો તમારે દુઃખી ના થવું હોય તો કોઈ નથી કરવાનું. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Imagine an emperor who had a big palace and everything. He is writing all these things about soul, retreat, going inward and all these things. And There's lot. Just first one. Dig within. Within is the wellspring of good, and it is always ready to bubble up if you just dig. આત્મામાં રહો. આપણે જેને કહીએ છીએ તમારા આત્મામાં જીવો. Dig within. Let the God that is within you be the champion of the being you are. નીચેનું પણ last is also a good one. Constantly think of the universe as one living creature. બરાબર છે કેતનભાઈ? એક યુનિવર્સને એક ક્રીચર, એક વન લિવિંગ એન્ટિટી કીધી છે. અને કમ્પેશન અને એ બધાની વાત છે. હવે લેટ્સ મૂવ ટુ મહાત્મા ગાંધી. ઘણા ફિલોસોફર છે, ઘણા છે. એમણે શું કહ્યું? Faith in God. Everyone has faith in God, though everyone does not know it. For everyone has faith in himself, and that multiplied to the nth degree is God. Beautiful. આપણી faith છે એટલે તમે મલ્ટીપ્લાય કરો nth ડિગ્રી સુધી, nth ટાઈમ, તો એ ગોડ છે. And the second say, God is strength. Who am I? I have no strength save what God gives me. I have no authority over my countrymen save the pure moral. If He holds me to be a pure instrument for the spread of non-violence in place of the awful violence now ruling the earth, He will give me the strength and show me the way. My greatest weapon is mute prayer. The cause of peace is therefore in God's good hands. And the spirit behind image worship. I value the spirit behind idol worship. It plays a most important part in the uplift of the human race. The deity saved one soul. Right. Okay, move to something else. Well before all those Western ideologies, there was one ideology which flourished in India. And someone wrote a unique poem, an epic poem on the subjects of like karma, fruits of karma, non-attachment, reincarnation, the existence of soul, God, importance of knowledge. And that epic poem is by using perfect grammar, using perfect poetry and a deep meaning behind each and every word. Which one is that? Gita. Bhagavad Gita. And that is, this one was composed before all these things, before Pythagoras and Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, before all these things. And that poem, as I said, is written in a perfect, it's a poem written in a particular meter. છંદ જેને કહીએ ને ઇંગ્લિશમાં, એ છંદનું નામ કોઈને ખબર છે મીટરનું? અનુષ્ટુપ નામ છે એનું. It's called અનુષ્ટુપ. In અનુષ્ટુપ છંદ, each and every verse have got 32 letters. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, દરેક શ્લોકમાં 32 letters હોય. And again that is divided in 4 parts. 8, 8, 8 and 8. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानं धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. એટલે આખું પોએમમાં whole 18 chapters. Beautiful, beautiful philosophy. Everything about the life, life after death, about soul, about karma. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. So that's Indian philosophy. And then comes, let us move on to right up to this 19th century. In between, we have got hundreds and hundreds of acharyas, scholars, saints, India, philosophers. I mentioned one thing about Srimad Rajchandra, and because it is written, what I have to describe or teach, Srimad Rajchandra's name was also mentioned. Srimad Rajchandra was born in 1867 and who died in 1901. 1901. Very long ago, isn't it? Yeah. 1901, when Queen Victoria died. 1901, when British Empire was, the British Empire's sun never set. That's the time, when British were ruling India and lots of other countries in the world. That's the time Srimad Rajchandra was born, and he was living in Bombay, Morbi, Bhavania, Eden, and lots of other places. He was a great poet, great saint, great philosopher, great author, and he has written lots of poems. His handnotes and his letters, especially some of the letters to Mahatma Gandhi, are continuous source of inspiration to all. And Mahatma Gandhi learned a lot of things from Srimad Rajchandra. One of the works of Srimad Rajchandra is Atma Siddhi Shastra, very famous. It has only 142 stanzas. He wrote that in a small town which is not far from Ahmedabad, a town called Nadiyad, in a single sitting, when one of his disciples called Ambalal was holding a lantern, and he started writing this poem, and he finished it within less than 2 hours. I think it was, the year was 1852 as per the Hindu calendar. In this Atma Siddhi Shastra, he has described 6 things, Sadasthanaka, 6 steps. Which are the 6 steps? Soul exists, it is permanent and eternal. The soul is the doer of its own actions. It is the enjoyer or the sufferer of its actions. But liberation exists, and there is a way to achieve liberation. In one of the ancient Jain scriptures, these 6 steps have been mentioned. But Srimad Rajchandra brought it out, made this quite famous, and he composed this poem called Atma Siddhi Shastra. This poem itself is revered now. People worship this poem like they worship any Agam, any Shastra, or any holy book. So, but as I say, he taught quite a few things to even Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi has written in his autobiography that Srimad Rajchandra was as good as my good. He has also mentioned, Gandhiji has also mentioned other 2 or 3 names. One was Count Leo Tolstoy, and one book he was very much influenced by was John Ruskin's very small book, Unto This Last. It's worth reading. Very short book, Unto This Last. So if you have a chance, please read that. That's how we got the idea of a real democracy and the meaning of true independence for India. We got this idea from this small book of John Ruskin, Unto This Last. Now coming back to Jain gods again. Last time I mentioned Arihanta and Siddha. These are our gods. Now, I know that some people say that we do not believe in God and God doesn't give anything and all these things. Even this afternoon, someone mentioned this to me when I was in the Navnath Center. Arihanta, enlightened beings, and the Siddha, all liberated souls. These are our gods. So Jains do not believe in Almighty God up there who creates everything, who destroys everything. Jains do not believe in that. A certain form and say that, oh, that's God. No. Arihanta and Siddha, those who live on this earth or on other planets, they are Arihanta, and once they attain Nirvana, they become Siddha. Arihanta. Arihanta have got 12 virtues. We'll quickly go through that. Now these virtues, have got infinite virtues. This is just one way of explaining. Vachana Atisaya, Tirthankara delivers an extraordinary sermon. Gnan Atisaya, the sermon delivered by Tirthankara is well understood by all human beings, animals, and heavenly gods. Puja Atisaya, Tirthankara is worshipped by mundane souls, the whole universe. And Upaya Agam Atisaya, no calamities or diseases exist in his vicinity of Tirthankara. These 4 virtues or attributes plus 8 more. When Tirthankara is giving a sermon, he is sitting in a place called Samovasarana. And these 8 things automatically happen in Samovasarana. Like he is sitting on the Singhasana, throne. He has got a halo behind him, Bhamandal, and the Devas holding chamar, and they are doing chamar to him. There is also a Chhatra canopy, triple canopy over his head. He is also sitting under the Ashoka tree. The flowers are coming from the heaven, from the sky. Beautiful, fragrant flowers, Pushpavrashti, Devdundubis. All the semi-gods are playing beautiful music with Dundubi, and they hear Dhvani, celestial music, and his language, Divya Dhvani also. So it should be written there that when he speaks, everyone, including animals, understand his language. You know how it happens? Everyone understands because his presence. When you go to a saint, a holy person, and sit down, sometimes you will find the answer without asking a question. Or he speaks about something else, and you will interpret that in your own way to find an answer. That's what happens. And say you are reading a good book, Bhagavad Gita or something. You read it today, you will understand in a particular way. You read that same book after 1 month, and you will understand from a different light, from a different angle, and you will find your own answers. So that's how it says that when God speaks, everyone finds answers to his questions. Siddha has got 8 virtues. He has got Ananta Gnana, infinite knowledge, infinite darshan, perception, eternal happiness, perfect conduct, immortality, formlessness, equalness among all siddhas and weightlessness, and ananta virya, infinite energy. These are the virtues of siddha. But as I say, siddhas got infinite virtues, yantas got infinite virtues, This is just one way of explaining who siddhas are, what is the meaning of siddha. And that was also the way to explain the meaning of arihanta. But of course, we have to understand in our language. So that's Jain gods. And as I mentioned last time, we also have semi-gods and goddesses. Isn't it? Yeah. And we can name few. Some semi-gods are like Manibhadra Bhagavan, Ghantakarna Mahavir, Nakoda Bhairav, Bhomyaji, and goddesses Padmavati, Ambika, Chakreshwari, Saraswati. Jains believe in these goddesses, Saraswati, Chakreshwari, Ambika, Padmavati, and of course 16 Vidyadevis, 24 mothers of 24 Tirthankars, and 24 attendant gods and goddesses. So we do believe in those gods and goddesses, and we also believe that they are capable of granting they are capable of giving us wounds, and they can fulfill our wishes. So, my last point and point for discussion. Has anyone seen God? Raise your hand.
You heard other people seeing God.
Have you heard other people?
Moses.
Did you meet anyone who said, yes, I have seen God? No? Anyone? But has anyone experienced the presence of God? No. Has anyone experienced that, oh, he or she was helped by God? No one? God didn't help you? You are here because of His will, because He helped you to come here. No, but seriously, you haven't experienced anything. No? Or perhaps you don't know. Or perhaps you do not want to say. I have experienced lots and lots of time. And I know. But you might have heard the stories, the anecdotes, or you might have read something that other people were helped by God, or something might have happened in their life, some miracle, something. And I am not talking about that blind faith that someone will give you something and it will happen and your money will be doubled overnight and all these things. No, not that miracle. No? God is there, does help, and when I say He, it's a power, divine energy. It does help us. Because I would like you to say something.
Yes, I think definitely that you can experience something happening, and you say the Nauka mantra, and sometimes I've lost things and I start saying Nauka mantra and I don't know, within a few minutes I find it.
That's what is happening. Yeah. You believe that something is there.
Something is there.
Something is there which
directed.
Normally we cannot explain by normal logic or it happened.
Yes. Also, whilst we were on a holiday in Turkey, and myself, my sister Rajni, when we were in the bus, actually what happened was we had come out first, and she lost her purse,
Mm.
slid out from her hand. And the guide was not prepared to wait. And we were really upset because she had medicines in there. And anyway, we started going in the bus and traveled already about 200 yards, and her eyes just went in the square on that purse at that very moment when the bus was going about 20 miles, 30 miles per hour, and shouted, "There it is." And he waited, and she got that. And we had done a lot of praying before that.
So some unknown factor, some unknown, whatever has helped you. Anybody else? No? Nobody? Nobody lost anything. There is one very good example. When I say very good, is partly, it's humorous here. One man believed in God. I told this thing quite a few years ago in our assembly here, that one man believed in God so much that he will come and help me. He will come and help me when I am in deep trouble. He had a great faith, great faith. Yeah. So it so happened that during monsoon it rained for days and days, and there were floods everywhere. And people started leaving the place, and they asked him, "Please come on, we are going to leave this place and go away. There's a lot of water here, and it's going to rise anyway." He said, "No, my God will come and save me." So water started rising. It came up to that, and the bus was passing through. The bus driver said, "Oh man, come in. Why you are standing there in water? We are all going away." He said, "No, my God will come and save me." You go. More and more water came. People were going in a boat, and army people, and they were trying to save. And the man said, "Please come and sit down." I said, "Come in the boat." He said, "No, my God will come and save me." Water came, all the ground floor was covered, it came right up to the first floor, and he went on the first floor and stood there. And then helicopter came, and the man from the helicopter shouted, "Come on, hold this rope, and come on, we'll save you." He said, "No, my God will come and save me." So, everybody went away. The man died. He went to heaven, and first thing it is complained to God. That all my life I worshipped you. All my life I prayed, and I had a great faith in you. And I told everybody that you will come and save me, and you never came. God said, "Man, I sent a bus for you. I sent a boat for you. I sent a helicopter for you. But you didn't want to save yourself. What can I do?" So, sometimes we do not realize what is happening and why it is happening. But I have noticed this. After experiencing few things, then I know that something, God does all these things, Yeah.
Why do we say God does all these things? If we are saying that everything we do is because of our karmas, good or bad, then why are we saying it's God has done this, or God's helping us, or God's saving us? Why? If it's because of our karmas.
God guides us, and if it is in our karma, again, that we'll be saved or we'll die, then it happens. But of course, His help is there when you are perplexed, puzzled, you are, when you feel, you're downcast, then when you remember him, when you remember his name, then of course it does happen.
Isn't coming down back to faith, having that faith. If you don't have the faith,
Faith is the main thing. Faith is the main thing. Without faith, yeah. It's, I read somewhere that two things you can do. Either you can say that I do not believe in God, or I believe in God. Now you have to weigh these things, right? And what will really help you in your life? That's what you have to think. Because believing in God means you will have faith, you will have conviction, you will do right things because you will be a God-fearing person, and you will do all sorts of good things as well. So, on balance, is અને પેલામાં આવ્યું હતું ને એક સેન્ટન્સ કે વાઇઝ મેન હેવ ઇન્વેન્ટેડ ગોડ, એના જેવું છે.
Can I ask you one thing? When you are, if we are going to go to fruit market, vegetable market, and ભગવાનનો શેપ આવ્યો, ને કાં તો એક વખત જલારામ બાપાનું એમ દેખાણું, how would you explain that?
પર્સનલી હું નથી બિલીવ કરતો એમ ના, કારણ કે એમ તો પછી દેટ ઇઝ બ્લાઇન્ડ ફેથ, હું ના બિલીવ કરતો. એ બધું છે ને, પેલું ગણેશ ભગવાનને આમ દૂધ આપ્યો તો દૂધ પીવે છે, નથી. અને હું તો ત્યાં સુધી ઘણી વાર માનું છું કે મને થોડો ડાઉટ છે કે ભગવાનને અમી ઝેર્યા આ થયું ને તે કર્યું. એમાં શું છે કે જ્યારે બહુ જ લોકો ભેગા થાય ને, હંડ્રેડ્સ ઓફ પીપલ, ત્યારે માર્બલનું સ્ટેચ્યુ હોય ને એ કોલ્ડ હોય, અને તમારું જે શ્વાસ ને એ બધું હોય છે ને, ઇટ જસ્ટ ગોઝ ઓન ધ coolest part of the statue and it comes down as vapor.
Vinodbhai, અહીંયા તો લંડનમાં પણ લોકોને સાઈ બાબાના ફોટોગ્રાફમાંથી they get the stuff coming out. So even though we are in London.
એટલે હું શું માનું છું, ઓકે કદાચ સાચું હશે, પણ મને એનાથી શું ફાયદો થવાનો? મારી સ્પિરિચ્યુઆલિટી એનાથી ઇન્ક્રીઝ થશે તો ફાયદો છે મને. જો એ એમ કહેતા હોય કે આઈ ગેટ મોર મની ધેન આઈ ડોન્ટ વોન્ટ ધેટ, કારણ કે એ કોઈ દિવસ નહીં માનવાનું તમારે. એ ભભૂતિ આપે છે ને આ આપે છે ને તમે આમ કરો તો આમ થઈ જાય ને, નો, એ નહીં. કારણ કે એ બધી વસ્તુ છે ને એ જસ્ટ એના ફોલોઅર કરવા માટે બનાવી નાખેલું છે. અને ત્યારે લોટ ઓફ પીપલ સાયન્ટિફિક રીઝન આ બધું કરવાનું એઝ વેલ કે આ કેમ થઈ જાય છે. આઈ ડો નોટ બિલીવ ઓન ધોઝ મિરેકલ્સ. આઈ બિલીવ ઇન રિયલ કે આપણે અંદરથી કંઈ હેલ્પ આવે છે એ, અને ધેટ આઈ હેવ એક્સપિરિયન્સ. અમારે ટેમ્પલ કરવાનું હતું કેન્ટનમેન્ટ. I needed a person, one who will help me for 2 or 3 years. અને હેલ્પ એટલે બધું જાણે, બધી ખબર પડે, બધી જગ્યાએ જાય, ઇન્ડિયા જાય, અહીંયા જાય, મોર્નિંગ ટુ નાઇટ કામ કરે, એની જરૂર હતી. હવે એક માણસ અમારે આવ્યા ઇન્ડિયાથી, joined our committee, became secretary. He worked for 3 years, did everything for 3 years, એટલું વર્ક કર્યું અનબિલિવેબલ. અને ટેમ્પલનું બધું ઊભું કર્યું, ડે એન્ડ નાઇટ વર્ક કરીને ઇન્ડિયા જાય, તપાસ કરી નાખે. એન્ડ વન્સ ધ ટેમ્પલ ઇઝ ફિનિશ્ડ હી વેન્ટ બેક ટુ ઇન્ડિયા. એટલે મને નાવ આઈ થિંક that God had sent him. કારણ કે એના વગર ન થાય. એટલે ના, this is how I interpret things.
Vinodbhai, this is getting a bit confusing now. No, because I mean, God has sent him. What is that God then? Because we started off
એટલે
that there is no God that can influence your life.
પણ એક ઇનવિઝિબલ ડિવાઇન પાવર છે, સ્ટ્રેન્થ છે, which persists. અને somehow એવું થાય છે, ડિવાઇન ભૂતગલ ક્રિએટ થાય છે. કે આપણી જે વિશ હોય છે ને, એ પ્રમાણે થઈ જાય છે.
You could equally interpret that aprakarma હતા.
Maybe, but either way, આપણા કર્મ હતા એટલે થયું કે our intense desire કે હતું કે અમારે કરવું છે અને suddenly it happened. ઘણી મેં તો કેટલા એક્ઝામ્પલ મેં તો આપેલા મેં ઓક્સનો દાખલો આપ્યો હતો ને when I was an 8-year-old boy અને I was in my street playing and all these things, you know. પછી બધા ઓક્સ ને બધું આવ્યા. I was the only one left. Everybody ran away. And I would have been easily killed. Easily, very easily. Yeah. But ઊભો રહી ગયો against the wall. Bull came to me, right? Looked at me in my eyes. And just stood there for a few seconds and turned back and went on. એટલે આપણને એમ થાય કે why it happened to me?
Maybe the common language we can say God is accountant. You just need to show them the balance sheet and they just make the accounts for you. Do the good, they will show the profit. Do the bad, they will show the losses.
અમે એક કોલેજમાં હતા ત્યારે ગયા હતા કાશી, the holiest place for Hindus. Even it's a holy place for Jains as well because Lord Parshnath was born there. So અમે એક પછી એક દર્શન કરતા હતા and the priest was saying move on because we are 100 students were there moving, you know, quick darshan. When my turn came, Kashi Vishwanath, the biggest temple is in Kashi, you know, and the very famous ancient one. ભગવાનના માથા ઉપર ફ્લાવર હતું એ નીચે પડી and the priest said, look, God has specially given this to you. It happened to you only, મને કે અને મને આપ્યું. એટલે that's what sometimes happens. You know that probably there is no significance. You can say that it happened anyway, it doesn't matter really. But sometimes you think that, oh yes, it happened. An interesting example, when I was in college in Ahmedabad, કેટલી વાર છે? થોડી વાર છે. We used to go for a walk every evening after our meal because we had to have our meal early in a Jain school, Jain boarding house. So about 6 o'clock we used to go for a walk, 30-40 students together, you know, every evening. Now, 3-4 doors away from our boarding house, there was one house on Kocharam Road. One girl, 8-year-old, 9-year-old girl, used to come out every evening. And she used to give me rose. Every evening. Now after all these years, now I wonder why it was me who used to come out of her house. And why she was giving me. Sometimes now I wonder, where is she? How old is she? Yeah, what she must be doing, you know. Probably that house is not there because Ahmedabad has grown so much, you know. All single-story buildings have been demolished, more or less. There are 4-story, 5-story houses are there. Yeah. My eldest daughter, when she came here, I used to believe in Jalaram Bapa as well, and I thought of bringing Jalaram Bapa's small photograph with me when we came here to this country. But I forgot that. And when we came here, my daughter gave me from her pocket Jalaram Bapa. She only didn't know. It was an accidental thing. My youngest daughter, when she was 1 year old, you know, she was in her cot, jumping about. She was upstairs, we all were downstairs. We used to live in Vaughan Road in West Harrow. Now, then I was downstairs. Suddenly I thought something happened in my brain, and I ran upstairs. And she was about to choke and die. Because what happened, she had a cardigan with string, and that string got around that cotton જે સરિયા હોય ને એમાં ભરાઈ ગઈ. And she was like that. It was. And I still am thinking, how come I knew that something is wrong upstairs? And I ran, immediately removed that thing. So, આ બધા જે incident છે ને એટલે એમ થાય કે no, there is something. Somebody is telling you something all the time.
Sending message.
Eh? Message. But that's what it is. So, તમે ભગવાનને માનો કે ન માનો, છે કે નહીં, બરાબર છે, પણ his help is always there. અને એ અંદર કન્વિક્શન હશે, અંદર ફેથ હશે, તો ગાઈડન્સ મળશે. અને એ ગાઈડન્સ છે એ જ વધારે છે. ભગવાન કંઈ પૈસા આપે કે લોટરીના 6 નંબર ના આપે આપણને. કદાચ આપે તો એ ખોઈ જાય 33 મિલિયન એટલે એ ના આપે. પણ જે આપે છે which is more than something more than millions of pounds, you know. Yeah. So એક વાર મેં દાખલો આપ્યો હતો ને કે my father, you know, I mean, we had well, not much anyway, no money in my family in a village in India. But when I was quite a small child, પછી અમારા ઘરે એક પોસ્ટ આવી હોય ને, ઇન્ડિયામાં તો બધી પોસ્ટ આવી, એમાં પછી સ્ટેમ્પ હતી લગાડેલી, અને ઇન્ડિયામાં સ્ટેમ્પ ઉપર પેલું સ્ટેમ્પ કરેલું હોય ને, કેન્સલેશન માર્ક, ના કર્યો હોય તો કેરફુલી કાઢી તમે સ્ટીમ કરીને અને રીયુઝ થાય. તો હું અબાઉટ 9-10 year old હશું, તો મને થયું કે આમાં કેન્સલેશન માર્ક નથી પોસ્ટ ઉપર. તો મેં કેરફુલી ટ્રાય કરી ઓપન કરી. મારા ફાધરે જોયું, ફાધર કે ધીસ ઇઝ ચીટિંગ અવર ગવર્મેન્ટ, cheating, and this is not good, this is dishonest act. અને મારા હાથમાંથી એન્વેલપ લઈ લીધું, સ્ટેમ્પ ઉપર મોટો ક્રોસ માર્યો. હવે મને થાય છે કે he has really left millions of pounds for me. કારણ કે that helped me quite a lot. એમ થાય કે you could have easily said, oh yes, use that stamp, very nice, good thing. And I would have forgotten all about that. But I remember this incident because of that. That is worth millions. What he left for me. That is it. Yeah. So, આપણને ભગવાન રસ્તો બતાવે છે, આપે છે કન્વિક્શન, ફેથ, અને સારા રસ્તે ચાલીએ છીએ ને તો સુધી ઇટ રિમાઇન્ડ યુ ટુ સફર. હું નથી કહેતો, સારા લોકોએ સફર કરેલું છે. ગ્રેટ આચાર્યસ હેવ સફર ઇન ધેર લાઈફ, યુ નો, થિંગ્સ હેવ હેપન because of their karma. એટલે it overall it helps. That is what real healing is actually. Okay, thank you.